دنیای سوپریات‌ها. مواد با کیفیت، مهارت در ساخت و سبک‌های مبتکرانه، مبانی بیچون و چرای محصولات لوکس هستند. از مهارت در مد روز گرفته تا جواهرات بی‌نظیر، ماشین‌های سوپر اسپورت و خانه‌های رویایی، هیچ کشوری نمی‌تواند در تجملات و سبک رقیب ایتالیا باشد. این کشور زیبای مدیترانه‌ای صاحب فرهنگی غنی است و با داشتن معماری باشکوه، هنر و نوآوری اصلاً جای تعجبی نیست که ایتالیا خانه مدرن ترین و پیشرفته ترین سازندگان سوپریات‌های دنیا هم باشد. بدون شک یکی از شناخته شده ترین کارخانه‌های کشتی سازی ایتالیا پرینی ناوی است. فابیو پرینی که موفق به پیدا کردن قایق بادبانی بزرگی که می‌خواست نشده بود، در سال 1983 و به تنهایی کارخانه خود را تأسیس کرد تا قایق دلخواهش را طراحی کرده و بسازد. رویای او به وجود آوردن انقلابی در باز و بسته کردن بادبان‌ها و سیستم کنترل یات‌های بادبانی بزرگ بود و زمانی که اولین نمونه موفق‌ترین سری قایق‌های تفریحی بادبانی ساخته شد، این رویا به حقیقت پیوست. و تأثیر این رویا در هیچ جایی به اندازه جام پرینی ناوی مشخص نیست. این مسابقات مشهور که به صورت انحصاری به قایق‌های بادبانی پرینی ناوی اختصاص داده شده است و در روزنامه تلگراف از آن به عنوان ناوگان 1 بیلیون دلاری یاد شده، اوج مسابقات قایق‌های بادبانی لوکس است. هر 2 سال به مدت 3 روز این قایق‌های زیبا در مسابقه پرچالش در محدوده مادالینا آرسپیلاگو که مجموعه‌ای از جزایر کوچک بین ساردینا و کورس است شرکت می‌کنند. و البته وقتی مالکین قایق‌های شرکت کننده صاحبان این صنعت با قایق‌هایی به ارزش متر 1 میلیون دلار هستند، رقابتی که در سال 2004 آغاز شد دیگر بسیار سنگین‌تر و تنگاتنگ شده است. ساخت تمام این قایق‌های خصوصی و اجاره‌ای که بیش از 60 قایق پرینی ناوی است با ذکاوت و نوآوری فابیو پرینی امکان پذیر شده است و این بازار بزرگی برای کشتی سازی ایتالیا به وجود آورده است و بزرگترین و بهترین تمام آنها مالتیز فالکون یا همان شاهین مالت است. سیستم تحول انگیز بادبان‌های آن یعنی دکل فالکون نقطه عطفی جدید را در تاریخ قایق سازی رقم زد. دکل‌های خودکار که به طور مستقل میچرخند و از فیبر کربن ساخته شده‌اند، این امکان را به وجود آورده که یک نفر به تنهایی بتواند این قایق 88 متری را هدایت کند. سرمایه‌گذار جسور و ریسک‌پذیر آمریکایی تام پرکینز در سال 2006 طراح سرشناس سوپریات‌ها یعنی کن فریوک را مسئول طراحی داخلی و خارجی بزرگترین قایق تفریحی بادبانی در زمان خود کرد.
So I had a call from the blue from him. You know, I'm Tom Perkins and I'm an American. I've seen some of your work published. I'm interested in seeing if you can work with me. And when he appeared at our studio driving a McLaren F1, we decided to take him rather seriously. And that was the start of Maltese Falcon. The whole project needed a very special owner. And in fact, most very good projects, it's not just having one good designer or one good naval architect. The whole team has to be right, and you need an owner who's prepared to listen, is prepared to accept innovation, is prepared to take risk. And we had all those ingredients, including also a very open and interested shipyard that was happy also to get out of the norm, if you want, and build something special. What's interesting is once I got the brief from the owner, I think within about a week, 10 days, I came back with some sketches of the possible layout and the concept, if you want, for the look of the yacht. And the owner straight away said, I like it, let's do it. And that was it. And it's interesting that over a period of 4.5 years that it took to build, even though obviously we had quite a lot of work to develop details and interesting aspects of the design, but the essential initial concept and sketch never changed. We felt we had the unique opportunity to go back to first principles on a number of aspects, and that included the materials we used, the concept behind the design of some of the elements. You know, everything was custom designed and built for that particular project. So, for example, on the atrium, we didn't want it to be a set of stairs that is just in a corner and you go up and down, you know, to the next level. I wanted to feel that you could be on the main deck and you could still see the lower deck and the upper deck. So we actually designed sectors of glass because we also had to support the masts and the bearings. So it was an interesting combination of structure and transparency.
فالکون جوایز فناوری پیشرو، سبک خاص و البته طراحی داخلی مدرن را برد و تعدادی از رقبا را پشت سر گذاشت و در سال 2013 برنده جام جهانی سوپریات باکارات برای بهترین قایق تفریحی تمام دوران شد.
The whole concept of the interior on the Falcon was one of integrated spaces, so I didn't want a corridor and rooms. I wanted it as open as possible. And so it was an interesting exercise, A, to design that, and B, to then convince the authorities that this was a valid concept and it didn't endanger life and it, you know, provided all the safeguards. So what we have is walls, effectively, we call them bulkheads, that can actually slide and can open between one space and the next. They nest into the flanks of the yacht, and it's a project that took a couple of extremely skilled German technicians about 2 years to develop. And the other thing that was interesting is those doors bisect the bar at the back end of the saloon. So it's a sort of inside-outside bar. At times it is fully open to the whole ship, and at times, you know, if the weather dictates, it's just open to the aft deck, half of it, and half of it to the saloon.
زمانی که فالکون مالتیز در سال 2006 وارد دنیای قایق‌های تفریحی شد، از آن به عنوان انقلابی تحسین برانگیز در طراحی یاد کردند. چیزی که این قایق را منحصر به فرد می‌کند وجود دیناریگ است که یک دکل متحرک متشکل از تیرهای مستقل چرخان است و بادبان‌های چارگوش را نگه می‌دارد. با وجود اینکه این مدل بادبان‌ها از سال 1967 وجود داشتند، اما اختراع فیبر کربنی و فناوری سنسورهای فیبر نوری بالاخره رویای دیناریگ را به حقیقت تبدیل کرد.
On the dyno rig, obviously it needs to look elegant, so that's maybe where we come in, but it needs to be studied from a strength and loads point of view, which is where the naval architect comes in. But then it has to also be designed and tested and built by somebody that knows what he's doing. And we were lucky to have Damon Roberts, who's a specialist on the technological side of it.
پروژه‌ای به ارزش 80 میلیون دلار به کسی نیاز داشت که تخصص و مهارت چنین دکل بزرگ و مستقلی را داشته باشد. خیلی زود دیمون رابرتس از شرکت ماگما استراکچرز برای ساخت این سازه 56 متری که در دنیا اولین نوع این دکل است به تیم ملحق شد.
In 2000, Jerry Dykstra, principal naval architect, gave me a call and said, Damon, I've got a challenge for you. Can you do a square rigger type rig in a freestanding carbon fiber mast? And I said, I'll have to think about that, Jerry. Send me through your sail plan. He sent me through the sail plan. I spent a morning calculating and went back to him. I said, yeah, I think we could do it. One of the reasons why I felt it was interesting was that we had previously done a modern square rigger, and we'd done the Tenacious for the Jubilee Sailing Trust, and I calculated out the size of that rig. And it suddenly struck me that the sizing of that rig was very similar to the sizing that we would do for a freestanding rig. These old square riggers, although they had a cloud of rigging, the support of the rigging is minimal. So effectively, those old wooden masts on square riggers are more or less freestanding spars. So today, what we have with Maltese Falcon is a modern equivalent of an old square rigger, actually almost following the same design rules as an old square rigger. So there's nothing new out there. There are new materials. And what's made Maltese Falcon particularly work well today is the introduction of lightweight, high-strength carbon fibre material. But what's different with her compared to a clipper ship is that the sails come out of the mast and run along the upper yard and the lower yard in such a way that once they're all deployed, it becomes more like a bat wing or a bird wing. It's continuous. It doesn't have those gaps in it that a classic square rigger would have. So it makes it a much more aerodynamically efficient shape. What we've been able to introduce to that concept was that we could go for a completely freestanding rig, so we could rotate the rig, and in so doing, we could overcome one of the great Achilles heels of all square riggers, was that rigging limited the angles that the yards could take up. So at a stroke, we're able to set the sails at a much wider range of wind angles, which means that the Maltese Falcon can sail better wind angles than an old square rigger can.
زمانی که شما با دارایی به ارزش بیش از 100 میلیون دلار سر و کار دارید، بسیار مهم و واجب است که همه کارها درست انجام شود. بنابراین هر قطعه از ماشین آلات آن باید دوباره باز هم دوباره آزمایش شود.
Testing and development is a really important aspect to designing and engineering novel, new, bigger, stronger structures. You need to know the materials, you need to know how they're going to perform, and you need to know the design requirements that you're going to fulfill. So we started off with wind tunnel testing, driven heavily by Jerry Dykstra. Then we went on to structural testing. So we built a 10th scale setup using the materials we intended to use in the mast, and we took that to destruction. We set that rig up, we bent it, we twisted it, we bent it and twisted it together, and we took it till we broke that rig. We then went even further than that, and we built a full-size single panel and a full-size section of the mast, and we put that on a shipyard through the summer, through the winter, coal dust, sandstorms, snow, ice, and we furled and we unfurled these sails repeatedly. So we developed a system that we knew would work.
Completing that project, Maltese Falcon, it's given quite a lot of impetus to other possibilities. There are a number of owners now looking at using dyno rigs on their larger yachts as being a very good solution to really using the sailing side of the sailing yachts. Too many sailing yachts are just motoring for most of their lives and putting the sails only in optimum conditions. So this is a great opportunity to be greener in a way and to have yachts travel distances actually sailing in a very controlled and efficient manner.
The key aspect of the Maltese Falcon project was the team behind it. I know it couldn't have worked to the success it did without that strength of team behind it. But someone takes the first step, so you mustn't underestimate the input that someone like Tom Perkins has in getting it out there, making it happen, and that creates the first step, as it were. It's always easy to go back and do a second one. It's hard to do the first one.
اما پرینی ناوی تنها کارخانه کشتی سازی پیشگام در این صنعت نیست و با توجه به اینکه بیش از 40% قایق‌های تفریحی دنیا از سواحل نیلگون ایتالیا عرضه می‌شوند، جای تعجب نیست که سازندگان زیادی از این کشور در خط اول فناوری مدرن و طراحی هستند. با داشتن مشتریانی مانند پرینی ناوی، بنتی و فرتی، هیچ کس بازار قایق‌های تفریحی ایتالیایی را بهتر از برجس یاتس که بهترین شرکت تجاری سوپر یات‌ها در سراسر دنیاست نمی‌شناسد.
Italians are particularly good, I think, with style. It's the one thing that always strikes you when you walk on board a yacht from an Italian shipyard, such as Mondo Marine or Benetti. You're walking into something that is actually chic, that absolute sort of style, and they do manage to do that incredibly well.
دیگر از سازندگان ایتالیایی که برجس کارهای آنها را ارائه می‌دهد موندومارین است. آنها که در این صنعت نسبتاً تازه وارد به حساب می‌آیند، کار اصلیشان مهندسی کشتیسازی و تعمیر قایق‌ها بود. اما در سال 1970 و به دنبال مدرن سازی کارخانه وارد دنیای پرزرق و برق قایق‌های تفریحی شدند و از همان اوایل کار جوایز زیادی را بردند. یکی از شاخصترین جایزه‌ها برای قایق تفریحی محمدی‌ها بود که برنده جایزه ویژه لویدز به خاطر نماد کیفیت و نوگرایی شد. آنها استانداردهای جدیدی برای قایق‌های تفریحی با اندازه متوسط و کیفیت بالا تعریف کردند و قایق‌هایشان همچنان به برنده شدن جوایز ادامه می‌دهند.
Since the crisis in 2008, you saw a lot of shipyards actually did struggle through that period. And it's great to see that a lot of these shipyards are now starting to really resurge back out of that, and Mondo Marine being one. They are coming out with new designs. They're putting a lot of time and effort into the facilities that they've got. And I think all of this investment that they're putting in now is reaping rewards, combined with a marketing campaign as well, which is particularly important to be able to re-establish or establish that brand and take yourself through to the next level. And I think Mondo Marine have done a particularly impressive job of turning themselves around over the last few years. When you see a Mondo Marine, or actually a number of the shipyards, but there is a mark that actually makes that yacht stand out as being from that shipyard. And I think they've done a very good job of that as well. We had a Nameless, which is a 41, slightly smaller, but 41 metre that we had for sale in Cannes, and incredibly well received. Very modern design, interior design, good use of space. And again, it was in that sort of size of yacht, they'd done an exceptionally good job because it was the space and volume that you would normally look at something that was probably 5 or 6 metres longer. The new 60-metre Sarastar also demonstrates a lot of the design of where Mondo Marine from a shipyard is actually moving towards. It has a Luca Dina interior, particularly stylish. I mean, she's got a good volume. She's a performance yacht as well. I mean, she maxed those 60 metres and she has the ability to nearly touch on 20 knots. So she's fast, she's sleek, and with an incredible interior design. So I think the Italians always managed to put that combination together in a particularly good package.
و اما این قسمت را با نگاهی به یکی از بزرگترین و مجللترین قایق‌های تفریحی به پایان میبریم. سیلاین شکوهمند. سیلاین در سال 2009 به آب انداخته شد و اولین محصول سازنده ایتالیایی VSY یاتس بود. اسم اصلی این قایق که کندی اسپیس دوست از اسم صاحب آن یعنی برادران کندی گرفته شده بود و مفهوم جدیدی از زیبایی، قدرت و فریبندگی را در معیارهای قایق سازی تعریف کرد.
Candyscape 2, our first boat, 62 meter. We started to build for our own, actually, for our own founder. It was supposed to be his boat. And then the Candy brother came by and decided to buy this yacht. It's been exciting, it's been difficult, no way. It's been an amazing experience. We learn a lot. The Candy firm, the company, explain us the importance of detailing. Because this boat was designed apparently like a sort of showroom for the Candy interior design team, everything on this boat has been made to measure. It's been made on order. There is nothing on this boat that you can buy off the shelf. And this is unique.
این قایق برنده که در سال 2013 به وسیله صاحب جدیدش سیلاین نامیده شد، با 62 متر طول و حداکثر سرعت 17 گره دریایی، ظرفیت پذیرایی از 12 مهمان در 16 کابین را دارد. عرشه آفتابگیر 2 طبقه آن شامل یک تخت مدور چرخان، سینمای فضای باز و جاکوزی است. و طراحی داخلی مدرن و پرزرق و برق آن با یک آسانسور شیشه‌ای، سالن ورزش و اولین ساعت آفتابی دنیا به اوج رسیده است. سیلاین که هم برای خرید و هم اجاره در دسترس است، برای صاحب و یا مهمانش نهایت یک زندگی لوکس و تجملاتی است.
Sea Lion is good design, no matter the style, but this boat has been built, has been thought, been a step forward the rest of their competitor at that time. She's absolutely stunning, in stunning condition, but is contemporary. At the end of the day, this was a trendsetter. And we see that sometime on the yachting, you know, when there is something that is even too far away at the moment you launch the yacht. No secrets. We had people coming in and say, 5 years ago, too much. Now, in your house, probably you have part of these. You start to look probably at the show, this year, 6 boats with an interior not as radical, but something that is very similar. So it's a trendsetter, and it's nice.
پس اگر شما هم به دنبال یک سوپر یات جدید هستید، ایتالیا یکی از شیک ترین جاهاییه که میتونید از اونجا شروع کنید. با ما در برنامه بعد همراه باشید تا به دنیای سوپر یات ها سفرمان را ادامه دهید.